creators are, you know what I mean?
Sure.
I won't say like people are naive or gullible or anything, because some people just don't have that type of mentality to be like, oh, I'm going to wake up every day, I'm going to change my eating lifestyle. I think it's going to be hard to change what the fitness industry is, because I used to think it was just purely sexual, and it used to bother me. Like, Instagram used to bother me because every time I get on the internet, I see one thing, and I'm just like, there's no instructional. It's just me showing your behind, and I'm just not understanding like what the fitness industry. It does become very like warped, and so
Yeah.
that's why I try to, like, for my social media, I try to surround my followers, the followers are people I follow, people I listen to, with educational things. They teach me how to move, and like, and better how to work out better. But I think people are just lazy and want things just given to them. That's just me. So I think it's gonna be hard to change the narrative, because people have to change themselves.
Also, everybody, welcome back to another episode. And I do mean another episode of It Is What It Is with the CVMK Show. Your host, CVMK himself. That's podcast over the Oscar Planet. Look, I want you to subscribe YouTube, CVMK, Instagram, It Is What It Is _show, CVMK33, and we're the best. Supplements are CVMK_global, www.cvmkglobal.store. We have an amazing episode today with an amazing person, IFBB Pro. Women's bodybuilder, a competitor. One of the things that I think has interested me is I'm trying to change the narrative. I really want people to live their most fullest life, their most healthiest life, obviously the most spiritually fit life, but also physically fit, right? And I'm not the subject matter expert, because I just had lasagna not too long ago. So I'm not the one to actually shed light on that. So I brought in somebody who is worth listening to, who definitely has the credibility and the credentials to give us further insight. So the CVMK family, please welcome Carmen. Carmen, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, your flexibility and everything, for being on here. I really do. Anytime, you reach out to anybody, you just never know, right? But I knew you didn't have to, and I really want to just say thank you from the bottom of my heart for being on this show. And I'm super excited about this episode because I want to understand the why, right? Like, why not just eat Krispy Kreme donuts and you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, just have the comfort meals and whatnot. What got you into fitness?
So I always start my story off with my mom. Like, that's a integral part of who I am. She always pushed me to do things, to be outside. So I guess she already knew what type of person I was. So I'm actually a prior track star. I won't say star, just a star in my eyes, in her eyes. So I used to run track since middle school, and she always pushed me to do that. So I was pretty good at that. I did it all the way up until college, and then I realized I was like, I'm tired. So I always did that. But my mom always pushed me, was always the main supporter of me doing fitness. She's the main reason. She's actually the one person, like, I first started getting to working out before I joined the military. She handed me, I remember like it was yesterday, she handed me this like book of how to work out, like all these workouts. I see these pictures of how to do certain movements. She was the first person that gave me these like kind of like James Fonda, like work exercise aerobic things. So I would say, why fitness? I've just always been an athlete, and I've always been naturally good at it. So and it's cool, you know what I mean? So when I ran track, I was pretty good at it, and I used to come in first place a lot. So I had that. So, I mean, it's just part of who I am now.
You're good. It's embedded in the DNA. Well, first of all, thank you for your service. I want to start there for the sacrifice that you made for all of us. The other thing, so you talked about your mother got you involved, track, and it just kind of kept evolving and evolving.
Right.
Right, this is really who you are. But making the leap, right? Like, and you talked about the book, how to become a bodybuilder. Like making the leap from track to competition, not just in the gym. You can join Planet Fitness. I see it all the time. I see you can join LA. You can. I'm just being honest. Like, but that's not bodybuilding. Right. I mean, like it is. It's what you do to get there, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about a competitor. What got you to that point?
That was so being a bodybuilder. So I would say I like to adjust this right. So I used to be on Instagram a lot, and I used to see these competitors all the end stage of how they used to be on stage, and they used to be so pretty, and I used to look at them and be like, oh man. It was always one of those goals where I knew that everything had to line up in order for me to compete. So I've been working out since at least I've always been an athlete since middle school, but I started really going to the gym around 2011. So, but it wasn't until recently when I moved to Hawaii and I was just in a certain gym around the certain people. And I used to have people approach me thinking I already was a bodybuilder just because I just worked out. That's just how my body was set up. So it wasn't until last year where I was in the right place at the right time with the right people. And that's how it all happened. It was all lined up for me. So I found my coach, Mike Kawasaki, I'm repping the team. So, and then it all just fell out through there. So I started training him and I competed. I competed in my last competition, my first competition in November, but it was more I wouldn't say it was luck or coincidence. That's just how fate had it. That I was just somebody just came up to me one day. He was like, do you compete? He was like, yeah, you should be. You could be pro. And to this day, I talked to that person a couple of days ago and was like, remember a year ago? He's like, I told you to compete. And that's just what happened. I just found out I put my mind to what I wanted to do. I told myself that I wanted to compete, that I wanted to be a pro bodybuilder. And that's just what I did. I was just in the right place at the right time with the right coach.
I like that. I think you've hit upon something that has to be addressed, has to be understood. Is environment matters, right? You can't grow oranges in Chicago. I live in Chicago, right? It's too cold. It's cold. It's supposed to get. I think it's supposed to snow on the weekend. That's Chicago. If you want oranges, you have to move to Florida. And
I'm from Florida, by the way.
Oh, all right, cool. All right, so
okay, that
understanding of placing yourself around individuals that actually want to see you prosper, I don't think gets enough attention. Because sometimes we man, I can make it. And it's yeah, you can. I think everybody can. But how your environment plays into that could hinder or at least slow down, your growth to an extent. Has there been, let me ask that a different way. This shift to Hawaii, was there any reservation? Was there any hesitancy? Did you know, man, when I get to this place, everything is going to just start opening up for me?
So I'll think about it like this. So I was actually, before I moved to Hawaii, I was actually at my heaviest. And I was pushing 190 pounds. Heaviest as in I just didn't like the way I looked because I took a whole 60 days of leave and I decided I wanted to be fat. I was eating crazy. So I got settled here and about maybe 2 months into it, I just thought about it and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do a cut. And I was in this gym and someone at work was saying that they were a bodybuilder and I was like, man, I could do that, And then all of a sudden they were like, you should do a 12-week cut, to see where you are, you know what I mean? And I was like, okay, I can do that. So that's how it really started. I looked in the mirror one day and was like, I didn't like what I saw. And at first it wasn't even really being about a bodybuilding at first. I just did the cut because I just wanted abs. And I tell people that, what made you get into bodybuilding? And I tell them plainly, I never saw my abs. I thought that was never a possibility for me. And then when I started doing bodybuilding, I took it more seriously and I put my mind to it. I saw exactly what I thought I couldn't see. And after that, I was like, oh man, I can do this. I can do anything I want to do. So that's how that was the shift when I got here. So I used to wake up at like, sorry, I'm outside.
You're
I
good.
used to wake up, wake up at 4 in the morning, like every day, religiously, nonstop, like for like at least um, like 6 months
Sure.
for this cut. And just 6 months straight, and just, no, you know what? I lied. It wasn't 6 months straight. It was like 12 weeks straight. I apologize. And decided that this is what I wanted to do. I just started changing my eating, and then that was it. So it was a shift when I got here because I realized that what I didn't like the way I looked anymore. That makes sense.
I like that. I want to get into, we talked about, shifting your eating, how to do this right, and really tackle upon, because there's a lot of rumors, misnomers. Like I don't know. Look, I don't want to reduce myself to that. I think I'm a step above the LA Fitness, but at the same token, like most individuals, I would say, are only focused on do I look, can the filter hide my imperfections? I think that's the best way to say it. And I think, I've gotten past that point, thank God, but I'm not where I would say that level is. And I want to get into really what the realness and the rawness of bodybuilding and what the dedication that it requires to be great. Just a quick word from our sponsors.
There's a hero in all of us waiting to be unleashed. All it takes is just that one last push. Activate the hero within with CVMK Global Supplements. All natural, steroid-free, designed to enhance performance, build muscle, and increase energy. You are unstoppable. You can do this. Become your own hero at www.cvmkglobal.store.
www.cvmkglobal.store. We just dropped The Way. I'm telling you, it's the only way product you need. The Way. Get it today at www.cvmkglobal.store. All right, so the dedication it takes to be great. You've done some great things. What goes into this? Like you said, you woke up 4:30 in the morning, 12 weeks straight. What does that dedication look like?
Oh, it's horrible. I think I don't know if it's just, I don't know if it has something to do with the military or if that has embedded in me, but I'm one of those people where I decided that there was no wiggle room for it. So I decided that the way my schedule was set up, there was only this short amount of time that I could get this in. I wanted it so bad that, you know what I mean, that there was just no room for anything else. This is what I had to do. There was no if and a but about it. There was no excuse. Oh, I'm tired. I'm going to be tired because it's like 4 a.m. You know what I mean? It's just, that's the goal I set, and it's kind of hard to put into words because to use that word, because a lot of people will get dedication and motivation. I don't have the motivation every day to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning or 4:30 to eat and to train, and you know what I mean. But you know what I'm saying. But you have to make up your mind that that's what you have to do, and you know what I mean. It's just a mindset thing where, like, after I realized, I think it was after after I did my first show and I did a complete prep, and it wasn't the most perfect prep. That's what we call it when we prep for a show.
Sure.
In short, I decided, you know what I mean, that after that one, I was like, I can do anything I set my mind to. And I'm just one of those people where when I said it, if I manifested it out loud, then I knew that's what it was. I didn't allow myself to be like, okay, well, we'll push it off tomorrow. Oh, we'll do this tomorrow. Oh, I'll start my diet tomorrow. Oh, I'll start going to tomorrow. No, we're going to start today. And we're just going to keep going and going. So I don't think of it as a diet. I don't think of it as, I don't work out. I train. This is like my life now. I can't do anything else but to eat the way I have to eat, to work out the way I work out, because I didn't look like this on accident. Nothing. You know what I mean? So when people say dedication, it's just because I said I would do it. And that was just it. That was it. There was no limit. There was no left and right. There was no excuses. There was no That's what I put my mind to. And when I wanted something so bad, the competition I was doing, I wanted it so bad. I'm one of those people where if I'm gonna do something, I said like something like bodybuilding, I was gonna do it to the fullest extent. So everything I did was I'm just an extreme person. So when I do something, I'm gonna go all out because
Mhm.
why not? You know what I'm saying? Why not? That's just who I am.
No, I like that. I think one of the biggest hiccups when it comes to any goal is that
Hmm.
individuals just aren't fully committed, right? Like
Right.
you said, I'm gonna go all out. I think people get about 20% in, 30%, 40%, but when they start adding up the costs, adding up the real sacrifice,
Oh
and
yeah,
really saying what they're like, nah,
I'm good.
and and but it takes that type of full 100% all in, just almost baptism, if you will, to
Right.
truly get anything, right? To truly bring about any sense of greatness. We hear a lot, Carmen. I don't know that world,
Right.
but because I think it's still not. It's growing increasingly more normal for women, particularly,
Hmm.
and even for women of color, even more specifically Black women. But it's still not like normal. You hear things like, "Well, if I
Right.
do this, it's not safe. I won't be able to
Right.
have children." Like so, I want to start there. Is bodybuilding safe for women?
I feel like that's a loaded question in itself because
Sure.
it depends on what we're talking about.
Okay.
So I think bodybuilding is safe as long as you have those that support system. So I didn't go into this sport by myself completely, not knowing the variables. I had a coach that minded my nutrition and minded my workouts and checked in with me. And if I had any questions about anything, I had that person. You know what I mean? Anything
Sure.
that I had. So is bodybuilding safe? There comes a point in the time of prep where we are at a really low body fat, and if you're not careful, and if you don't have those coaches or you know what I mean, that support system, you know what I mean, checking in with you, it cannot like any other sport. Everything has its own dangers to it.
Right.
I that's all I can really say about is it dangerous. If you don't know what you're doing and if you're doing it alone, I wouldn't recommend. Bodybuilding is not something you just be like, oh, I want to do this, and you know what I mean. I just want to
Yeah.
do it. You know what I mean. It could be fun. Now, some people do that, and that's their own, agenda. But it's nothing to the. If you don't know what you're doing, then yes, anything can be dangerous to an amateur or novice, someone that just doesn't have all the information. But here comes. I think bodybuilding is dangerous if seen through the eyes of Instagram, because Instagram has this very convoluted way of showing something that you know what I mean. You're not seeing the whole picture. You're just seeing someone's highlights, and you're like, you know what I mean. So you're just seeing these highlights. You see everybody sees these short stills of these pictures. Instagram makes everything look very glamorous, but it doesn't show you the other side to bodybuilding that people don't like to show. The way that I have to eat the same thing about every day for like some people stay in prep for almost like a year or two. You know what I mean? People see the glamour side of it, so I think it is safe, but you just have to have that support system there. That's my take. For women, it is safe. You just have to. I keep saying the same thing.
No, you're good. I'm glad you hit upon that because, we talk about like the body fat percentages, and I think you said it the best. If you have the right support system, right, like you're not going at it by yourself. You have a coach, you have a prepping coach, a nutritionist. You have elements around you that
Yeah.
they're invested in your safety. It will be safe, right? If you try to go at it just on what you see on an Instagram reel,
Right.
that
No.
that's when you might do some danger to yourself. So that makes total sense. So coming in IFBB Pro, I've heard I don't know. Yeah, I've heard it's
Mhm.
like not easy. Like you just can't. I don't know. I just I know people that compete at NPC,
Right.
right, and then it's like IFBB is like the next level.
Right.
How do you actually become an IFBB Pro?
In the shortest term. So first of all, so you just let me make it simple. It might sound simple. So the first person how I started is like there's certain divisions for certain body types. Now, most of the time, NPC level, most females, I'll just speak to the females. I don't speak to the male side because I don't, most females, depending on their body type, doesn't have a lot of muscle. So most of the time, if they have a smaller frame, they'll do bikini or whatever. And then there's like bikini, wellness, women's physique. You know what I mean? They don't lean towards too much bodybuilding in NPC. I haven't seen it. But so what happens is you have to do like maybe you do an NPC show and you have to place like top 2 in your class depending on how many people and your height to get nationally qualified. So you are nationally qualified after you place top 2 in your class or win overall. So after that, you can go to any national show anywhere. And so for the national show, it depends on. So it gets a little. Depending on your age, it gets a little complex. Not really. So like 35. Count me if I'm wrong. 35 over is a masters. They call it masters. So if you can actually get your pro card, I've seen people get their pro card. They can get in the masters or open. Is that what we call it? So in order for you to get your pro card, you have to compete in the open or masters. But for masters, 35 over, you have to get overall number 1. Not overall, but number 1 in that class. If that makes sense. So we have 4 classes, A, B, C, D. You have to win A. Or one out of, I don't care how many people's in it. You have to be number 1 out of those for masters. Now, for any open class, right? So I competed, I'm mainly women's physique. But when you become a pro, I can go to any other division. But I won't lose focus off that. So when I competed as women's physique, I was in class D. But I took my whole class, which automatically I got my pro card, and so did the person that got second. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So once you're a pro, you can compete in any other, like I can go to wellness, which I am doing. So I can go to wellness and compete with wellness pros if I want to. If that makes sense. It seems a lot more simple when I say it out loud, but some people it does take a long time to do because these shows are very expensive. That's the other thing. It's a very expensive sport, the travel, and if you're not close to a show, the travel is insane just to even go to a national show. I mean, go to a national show to even get it. So yeah, it is very hard. I'm just an anomaly because I got my pro card in a year. I'm just a little bit different.
Just a little bit different. It's an anomaly. That's why you're on here.
Just a little bit different.
Just a little bit different. It is what it is. That's why you're on here. All right. Well, I got a couple more questions. I appreciate you. I know we're coming to time, and I want to thank you again for being on here. Just a couple more questions. I'll ask one. I'll cut to a break, and then I'll end up with the last one, which we started off with. The one of the questions is, how do we change the narrative? And because I think what's happening is, and I'm cool with monetization, right? I'm cool with everybody getting theirs, right? Like, right? Because it is the Wild Wild West, that means a lot of different things. And I think fitness is no longer fitness. I know that sounds corny, right?
I think I know what you're trying to say.
So how you're different. You're the one that does this. How do we begin to change the narrative, or is it just too late? We just accept it is what it is.
So what do you think the narrative? So explain to me what you think the narrative is, right?
I think the narrative is maybe a sense of clout, maybe a sense of brand appeal that has nothing to do with the actual fitness. It's like I feel like it's a disingenuous. I'm not going to name any names. Perfect example. Let's say you admire somebody. Let's say this person is, let me do somebody so abstract. They make dairy products, right? They make cheese and milk and all that other stuff. And then you see a video and a few other videos of them working out. And then all of a sudden they got more software. And all of a sudden the videos is like a bit more consistent. And it's like, it's this alter ego, I guess is the best way to say it. It's not for the sake of either competing or improving one's health, as it is almost, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a resume builder now. Like it's the thing you have to have. Maybe I'm off, right? I'm trying to say it in the best, nicest way. You don't
have to, but
I don't have to. Today, Wednesdays are my praying days. Like I try to really pray and fast. So, I'm a bit nicer. Normally I would just say what I want to say, but now, I'm gonna be, hey, But what do you think? What do you think we need to do to really get fitness back to some of its organic appeal?
I feel like it's going to be hard because, like I said, social media drives so much for this generation. And the fact of the matter is, like I said, those short blips, Instagram shows you picture perfect things, these seemingly perfect people in their seemingly perfect life. And it's hard to me because it does feel gimmicky. It doesn't feel it doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like anyone's actually helping. But that's when you got to really deep dive into who you're looking at and seeing what they're really about. Or this is just a bunch of videos or just a bunch of mess. Or is the content so like it just start looking very fake, and that they're just out for monetary, it's just for money. So I think people just need to look into, also it's okay to like go seek your own information, because that's how I learned the stuff that I did. So before I even got my coach from a year ago, I worked out like myself. I used to be online, not so much Instagram, but I used to go research things, how to get my legs bigger. I used to just look up articles upon articles. It's okay to get that knowledge, but I think this society or this generation is used to things being fed to them, that they don't reach out and go get the information themselves or go to try to understand themselves. Because a lot of people ask me, like, you have any tips? Like, if you Googled it, I promise you, it would tell you just to eat less. How do you lose this? How do you get bigger legs? Work out. Like, it's very simple, but I think Instagram has given us this very weird like lifestyle, even with these content creators are, you know what I mean? I won't say like people are naive or gullible or anything, because some people just don't have that type of mentality to be like, oh, I'm going to wake up every day, I'm going to change my eating lifestyle. I think it's going to be hard to change what the fitness industry is, because I used to think it was just purely sexual, and it used to bother me. Like Instagram used to bother me because every time I get on the internet, I see one thing, and I'm just like, there's no instructional. It's just me showing your behind, and I'm just not understanding like what the fitness industry. It does become very like warped, and so that's why I try to, like, for my social media, I try to surround my followers, the followers of people I follow, people I listen to, with educational things. They teach me how to move, and like, and better how to work out better. But I think people are just lazy and want things just given to them. That's just me. So I think it's going to be hard to change the narrative, because people have to change themselves. And I think people are just lazy as heck. So
you preaching right now. I like it.
Lazy, and they don't. And I feel like people look at me and be like, "Oh man, I want that." No, you don't. You don't, because like, you know what I'm saying. If I tell you how to get it, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm not gonna do all that. Like my mom always tells me, like, she was like, I look at people on the internet all the time and be like, I don't know what their problem is. People just, they think they want it, and then when I tell you what it is, they be like, oh no, I can't eat like that. I don't know how you do it. I just do it, and I do it every day. And I look in the mirror and I'm happy about what I said. Happy, because although it would be nice to sit here and eat Krispy Kreme donuts, but after a while, like, you start to realize, you start to look at food differently. That's what me is. I look at food differently. I don't see it as like, oh, it's just one donut. Yeah, it is like, I think they're about at least 300. I can't. What I'm gonna guess. It's like 200 calories, 32 grams of fat, not 32 grams of fat, 32 grams of sugar, and then sugar. But you don't know. But like, even to get deeper into it, sugar causes inflammation that makes you look okay. Cause you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I carry around my water, like my gallon of water, and people are just so amazed, like, oh my god, you drink all that? It's a gallon of water. Yeah, your body is made pure. Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know how you do it. She's like, I can barely get 16 ounces. Like, that sounds horrible. I know your stomach hurt. So that's all I gotta say about that. I just think it's gonna be hard. People gotta want to change. People gotta want to go reach out and get that information themselves. And I think people are just lazy. And then they don't want to pay for it, which is weird. So They want stuff for free, and I'd be like, don't ask me nothing. You know how long it took me to look like this?
Hello. Hey, I read a book, and I'm gonna cut to our sponsor. I'll cut to my sponsor and hit you with the last question. But I read a book. It's MIT professor Pine and Gilmore, and in the book, he talks about business strategies, and he says basically businesses will all mirror each other, but what separates one from another is experience that you create with somebody, but also what you charge. And then he quotes it by saying, you are what you charge for. So if you think that you're less, you'll charge less. If you think you're more, you'll charge more. It doesn't matter what the cost of the good is. So let me cut to the sponsor, and I'll be back with my final question.
I literally just tried the best pre-workout on the planet. With Superpower pre-workout, you have increased focus and a power boost every single time you work out. It's not only packed with 225 milligrams of caffeine, but it also has citrulline and creatine. It's insane how much energy and focus I had during my workouts. If you're ready to take your workouts to the next level, then ditch your current pre-workout and get the Superpower pre-workout to be your own hero.
Y'all, www.cvmkglobal.store. Get the Superpower. There's so many to choose from. I'm just going to drop the website, www.cvmkglobal.store. All right, so I grew up, I wasn't idolizing, but I really did. I really looked up to Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, who else? Kai, Phil Heath, and then the generation before them, you know. All right, so the Olympic sport, right? Like I know you guys have Olympia, right? And that's kind of like the Olympic sport. But for them that aren't necessarily following that closely to the sport, do you think there's a chance that bodybuilding will ever be an Olympic sport?
I don't see. It's a hard question to answer because the way I don't know the way other sports are regulated. Yeah. I think the way that bodybuilding is regulated, I don't think it's possible. You know what I mean? Because the way they drug test, you know what I mean? Now you're going into that. If we want to talk about everybody loves to, I don't know, like drug test, like drugs and bodybuilding is always like, ooh, it's a taboo thing. But I mean, just to be transparent, like, you know, most people are on something that does, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's gonna be hard if you're gonna apply. I just think I don't see it. And Olympia has always been that big thing. So I mean, I don't know. Anything is possible, but I really can't see it because the way that the payouts, I don't know if you know familiar with the payouts they do for like the top 3 for Olympia. I don't even know how much people win for getting gold medals. So I just don't know. I can't answer that because the Olympia has always been just the main event for that. So do I see it? I think it's possible, but I just feel like somebody's gonna be like, "What's the point? You know, you just had Olympia. Now you're going to Olympics." I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna work. That's just my opinion.
Well, that fair, and that answers it. Well, look, Carmen, you have been absolutely amazing. Where can if people want to reach out to you, connect with you, say, hey, look, I did what you do. I think you provide real, just truth, and your vibe is amazing. And you don't just post reels, be posting reels. You actually give stuff that's actually going to help us. Where can they connect with you and support you?
Well, I have mostly I go by Karma is Coming. So if you find I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Snapchat. So basically, if you put Karma is Coming, you'll find me on Instagram. If you put in Karmen Kalila, they'll find me. I'm Carmen with a K though. Gotta put that Carmen with a K. I had people saying that in college. Carmen with a K, Kalila, but that's my Facebook. They can reach out to me there. But yeah.
Y'all connect with her. Carmen with a K. Carmen Kalila. Yep. Carmen is coming.
Yeah.
Where it goes down. And if you want to keep seeing amazing leaders like we have on a day, amazing influencers, just amazing people, you know what you got to do? YouTube. CVMK is 4 letters, y'all. It's not difficult. CVMK. If you can't do that, then I don't know what to tell you. Instagram, it is what it is _show, CVMK _global, CVMK 33. And where the best supplements are, www.cvmkglobal.store. And until next time, guys, thanks.
If you think exercise alone got me looking like this, well, think again. CVMK Global Super Thick got me right. I'm obsessed, and yeah, I won't stop talking about it because it helped me grow in all the right places. Its creatine provides a fast and reliable way to increase your power, size, and shape, and it's scientifically proven to help you reach your physical goals in a safe, controlled manner. So if you want to increase muscle size, pump, and thickness in your muscle groups, you need Super Thick.